Hey everybody, this is our awesome 2008 120 Prado V6. We've transplanted the engine. No, we haven't actually. This is another one that I picked up cheap and I've been bringing back from the dead. As I said, good foundations and just the usual sort of work needed, and hopefully we get lucky with the engine because a lot of people do have issues. Let's not go there in this video. This is a dual battery install. We're going to try and put another one of these just like that, and this is just a really old crappy Optima that's probably over 10 years old. I don't even know how old it is. Does the job. I've got another crappy one like that that's about the same age, more or less, that's going to go here, but the problem I see, power steering's in the way. And there is some battery trays available, and we've got a bird in the workshop at the moment. Hey mate, this isn't Bunnings, get out of here. And it's not a welcome swallow, it's something else. I can't see what it is, but who's into birds, mate? Let me know by the... I was trying not to talk when he's making a noise, when he's calling you. Anyway, so I couldn't find a video doing an install, and I suppose it's old news, but then there's going to be a lot of people that do look for old 120s because last of the best. 120 V6 diesels, 1KZs, they're all good. They've all got their own problems. Let's stop pretending that, one's bulletproof and the other's the big problem. The other one's the majority of the market and it's the minority of the problem. And these engines are awesome as well, but they have their own issues. People are going to buy these. They're going to buy diesels, both types, and they're going to get 150s with both engines in there as well. The 1KD diesel, the V6, and also the 1GD. So a different dual battery install video, simply because I couldn't find one scouring the internet. And I've got this battery tray there, and it basically is going to include removing and relocating the power steering, obviously, because that's where the battery tray is going to go. It's going to be unbolt these and move this out of the way temporarily. Do not undo that bolt because that's your aircon. You're going to mess with your aircon system and lose the gas if you do that. I believe this bracket will have to come out of the way. This earth bolt will come out and get reused part of the tray or bolt in there. We're going to have to drill some holes through somewhere here and put a plate underneath the other side to help support that battery bracket. And it might use one of these holes up the top here as a battery support, or we've got to drill a hole. I'm not too sure yet. Let's have a quick look at the instructions. Just wanted to give you the rundown of what we're doing and where it's going to go to change it from looking like this to when it's done I'll go like this, if I remember to do that part of the video. But for now, let's just get on with it. So what I'm going to do first, doesn't matter what brand you go for. I just got the $90 eBay job Grunt4x4. It's powder coated steel. It's okay, and they've got very similar components. There's different brands you'll see in the pictures, same stuff, different bucket. The problem I got is you can see what's in the picture here, and there's different components. Count the amount of nuts and bolts, and I've already used 2 here. I don't know if it's right or not because the instructions aren't very good. There's a lot more nuts and bolts here and some extra plates and stuff as well. Look, 1 plate, I'd say that's that one. These 2 plates, not in that picture. So there's no diagrams, there's no anything really. There's just a description, which I've read many times. E.g. 1, bolt supplied power steering bracket to outer top right hand corner of battery tray. What is the outer top right corner? I mean, where's the top? There's no top, it's a battery tray. All right, so outer top, I don't know. So look, I've just gone, I guess, because there's some holes there, that might go like that, and it's got 1 hole there. I'm guessing that's where we're going to bolt the power steering slide bracket to. There's quite a bit of work to be done. It says, actually says here 2 hours. It's not going to take 2 hours. This video is going to take about 2 hours, but somewhere it said the time. You can probably see it anyway. It does say, I think it said 120 minutes. And this is for the 2007 model onwards, apparently. So hopefully it works out. I haven't done one of these before. It does ring a bell. Maybe I did do one 10 years ago or help someone or something, but people didn't bring, back when I was doing dual batteries, I didn't really see too many anyway, because I wasn't doing many because we were doing everything back then. So been there, done that. We don't do that anymore. We do videos to show you how to do it because I can't do them all. So I'm going to try and work out what all these bits and pieces are using these instructions. Hopefully I can figure it out. It will just be 2 hours of time wasting because the lack of instructions. It needs diagrams, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't find it anywhere. That's why I'm doing the video. So step 1, number 1 was to bolt that there, but I'm not sure if that's right because I'm guessing. Now take out metal bracket, air cleaner duct, remove small earth trap out of way, small bracket holding air conditioner pipe, separate retain rubber for later. Let's go above and beyond, and I'll just move this out of the way first, which will just slide out of that bracket. That's the slide bracket. The bottom part, I believe we're going to drill out and get rid of that bottom part. So we're going to slide out the power steering, let that sit there for now, take out the 3 bolts to get rid of that bracket. We're going to take out these bolts for this, the air intake mounting bracket. That'll be in the way, so we're going to take those all out and keep all the bolts and brackets aside for now. And the small S-strip they talk about is this one that comes across from here to there. It says put it, you know, relocate it, but I'm not sure if that's going to be in the way or not. It might stay there. Otherwise, we'll find another hole somewhere to put it in that's hopefully not in the way. Maybe on that bracket right there. So I'll get on with that part of the job. All right, so these are the components I've got on the bench at the moment. This is the power steering bracket we're going to reuse. It goes on about drilling out the 3 spot welds. You can see those 3 there. We'll get to that later. In case we don't like this setup and we decide we want to reverse and go back, where you could always put bolts or something in it. Anyway, whatever, we should be right. So that's come off. That's the air cleaner bracket. That's the couple of earths I've taken out already. That's the mounting for the air conditioner. At this end, you can see it's a lot clearer. The earth that was there, I have moved over to there and put it on top. Don't know if that's going to work out 100%, but we'll see. And that bracket that used to go in there, the mounting clamp, we'll just get rid of that later. We'll just let that sit for now though. The bolts out of this earth, don't forget, it's certainly got to go back in. This looks clear. You can push the aircon pipe back out of the way. That'll get remounted later. I'm not sure exactly where this right angle bracket's got to get bolted on, but I can tell you what a weld bolt is, you know, those ones with the little spots on them. So when you tighten up, they're going to pull in. They're called weld bolts. I don't know how well they work, but like I said, I guess that's where the power steering bracket goes. So we're just going to slot it in place now and see if it works out that it fits in there. So you can see the components that have been removed and changed on this vehicle. I think we're looking good at the moment. These holes line up. There's a couple of spare holes there. I haven't worked out what they're for yet, but there's going to be some, maybe that's where that angle bracket bolts on here. Anyway, I'll work it out. One of the plates, when you drill these holes through the guard's going to go underneath to support that. And the long bolt is obviously going to go in there with the earth strap. I don't know if it's under or over. Doesn't look like it's squashing or damaging any of the wiring, which is good. This plug, you just need to sort of push it out of the way. When you put your battery in, it'll just bounce back again. I don't think there's any way to permanently move that other than break the clip because it's old and pushing it too much. Same as these power steering hoses, they're a bit stiff because they're older, so it's not going to be like it used to be. And the only other thing I'm going to do, that support bracket underneath the tray, I'm thinking I might stick a bit of rubber between it and the body of the car. So a bit of old tire tube rubber just glued onto that bit of metal underneath. The other thing I'm not sure about is it. Like I said, I'm not sure that's where this goes, but I think it can't be going anywhere else, right? And that must end up mounting, you know, somewhere there like that, whatever. So let's leave that out of the way for now. Not leaking, no, beautiful. And this bracket, it's loose at the moment, so I'll tighten it up, and obviously we're going to be able to bend it and well, it's not called bend, it's called rework. We're going to be able to rework that bracket to get it up nice and level and where we want it, which it's looking all right so far. Let's see how it all continues to work out. Now, while I think of it, if you're pushing the aircon pipe out, that's cool, but see, it's going to push it out of its bracket up there. So if I forget to tell you later, what I'll do once this is mounted is rework this pipe a little bit to, you know, I'm not going to use the word bend or rework. You can't just bend an aircon pipe and kink it. You've got to very gently rework it so that it comes back in and sits in that bracket up this end here, because I do want it all secured. So it'll just get reworked back once it's all complete, in case I forget to tell you later. This is the rubber. I've just super glued a double layer of tire tube there just to stop rubbing between the metal. That's my little thing. It may or may not work out, but that's what I'm hoping. Pretty pox instructions, but this is where I'm really stuffed. Step 5, unclip wiring loom and bolt in supplied right angle bracket using 1 M6 knot. Unclip what wiring loom? Awesome instructions. So we talking about this wiring loom over here, we're going to unclip, and then where are we going to put it? Or are we talking about this wiring loom here or this one here? What, we're going to take that off that little bracket? Well, that's what I've done so far, thinking maybe that one, and they want to use this bracket for something. Then where does the wiring loom go? It doesn't tell you that. No other wiring loom, is there? Is there a one, you know, like which wiring loom, you know? Diagrams, people, diagrams. But anyway, I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. What I have to do to figure it out is sit the battery tray in and start bolting it down and just figure out where bits and pieces go. And it might be a bit harder to deal with later, but we'll have to work it out. Now, when they said to use these weld bolts, I mean, it doesn't tell you which way to face them. I figured the other way so it's not hitting your battery, but then you're hitting on your aircon pipe here, so it's something to be aware of. That reworking we talked about, that will need to happen later. Obviously, this is pressing hard against the tray when it's in position. You can see how that one is Look at that finger, mate. Yeah, you got the crazies going on there. There it is. Look at it. Ooh. Next place, the instructions are absolutely useless. It says position the tray. Look, you can clearly see there's 2 bolts we can use there. 1, 2. These go through to nothing. Nothing, no other holes. There's other holes you could drill out, those M8s. That would have been handy to have use of those as well. If I was the designer, you know, that's what would happen. It's going to be very difficult to get this out and clean it later. And I reckon there's got to be a bracket we've got to use here for that, because we can't just leave that sitting around as well. So back to figuring it out. Instructions say, because we've skipped 5, we've done 6 already. Position battery tray using a 3 countersunk M cell and long, so which is wrong. Replace the earth strap connection together with the battery tray arm. So we can do that. We can put in 2 countersunk bolts and the 1 long bolt and washer. So let's go ahead and do that and see how it works out. Next is drill those 2 holes through the guard, through the wheel arch at the back there, as we saw, you know, that spot here. The next problem with the unquality design, you can see I put a bit of copper grease on those bolts in case any battery acid ends up ever getting to them, so they don't sort of hopefully rust out and never come out again. But this bolt, I'm giving everything I've got to push the tray and the bracket down to make it line up with the hole. It's not quite there. I'll get it, but it's super difficult. There it is, right? We got it in. It says to use the long bolt and washer. That's the washer, and you can see, luckily we can't see that once the battery's in. I mean, it's fine, but not exciting. Just make sure your earth strap's nice and tight, which it is. It's secured in the original position, so I'm okay with that. The tray's not hitting around here. I've got my rubber under there. Now I've got to drill those holes out. We already discussed that. We can get to those in this position here, but I'll just read through the instructions a bit more and tighten up these bolts too, because they were just loose to allow that to pull into position. I can tighten those 2 now. No, it is the countersunk bolts you use there, just in case you missed that part. And yeah, like I said, put some grease, bit of protection. You've got to think about things, what's going to happen over the life. So that is very solid already. We've got some reworking there to do, mounting the pipe and the aircon and this thing, and we'll be back to normal almost. Might leave drilling those holes just for now, and what I'd like to do when I drill them is apply some paint from the other side on the inside and just get it all so to help prevent rust and stuff. And once you're done, I'd probably, once you secure them, spray a bit of grease in around here as well, because grease helps with anti-water and anti-rust as well. A bit of Inox MX4 or spray grease or whatever you got, just keep an eye on it. And sealing it up from the other side. So after you put your nuts and bolts on, a bit of that, you know, that guard liner spray stuff, a bit of that goop in there to stop the moisture getting to it constantly from the other side to any possible bare metal or rubbing around at this side. Okay, it's like a game I've worked, it's like a jigsaw. I've worked out where this bit goes, that bracket for that pipe. You reuse the bolts and put this bracket, bolt that up there, and it will get secured using these battery tray bolts when you drill those out all in one. So yeah, kind of like, yeah, not the best again, is it? You know what I mean? I can tell you already it's not going to line up that well, but just want to show you the quality of the products. Because the hole, ideally, it is actually right. If I put those in the right spot, I reckon the hole's right in between the 2 holes down there. There you go, you can see for yourself, right? To get that over to there, you're dreaming. Look where the holes are. Here, they are elongated a bit, but they're going to need a lot more than that. And this is, you know, this doesn't have that much movement in it. It needs to be kind of where it needs to be. So a bit of re-engineering again. Crapola. Is this kit garbage and garbage quality? Yeah, so you bolt, I've set those bolts in position, so then it's not negotiable, right? It's that, wherever that moves, the whole thing moves, right? So we can only move this where we can move it. And you can see clearly that's where the holes are, you know, and you can't move it to the hole. So long story short, not satisfactory. Which is there any surprise there that it's not satisfactory? Not really. So what you're better off doing is drilling a whole new hole straight through the middle there, and that'll probably make that work. That'll be my solution, but I'll have a think about it. It's just not really good enough that products can be sold that are just garbage, really. At this point, I'm about to crack it and do a full reverse. This is a big waste of time. See here where it said to drill out. That's why I didn't drill out the power steering bracket, right? So you know, you got to remove the power, do that power steering bracket thing. Let's just have a look where that's going to sit, because that's not looking good either. And then, you know, so let's just have a look. So power steering, that's where it used to want to sit, okay? Now they want to sit it somewhere like, so if it ends up, so it also says that the power steering, unbolt it and all that, and blah, 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 past the power steering reservoir with the hoses connected under and over the air conditioner pipe. Now, this is where it was. I don't know how you can go under and over an air conditioner pipe that they're already over. Okay, so, and I doubt that you'd want to put it under that air conditioning pipe. So let's assume the instructions are wrong again and everything's in the right position. Then you need to, I guess, is that where their mounting is going to be out there? And you got it, that's pushing on the power steering drive belt there, that hose down there. Way too, you can't be doing that. This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Right. This addition bracket mounted tray for air conditioner. This is a 2007 model onwards. Well, that's what we got anyway. But right, see what I mean? That's why I haven't cut anything yet, and just step by step. This wrong hole. This, well, unsatisfactory to be way out of place. Like, you know, I don't know where you could, you know, really, if you had it kind of like, you know, about there, that might work, but I don't know how. You know, there's no hole here for the bracket, the hole's on the side, so I don't know how that's going to work. Let's move on to the air conditioning pipes. Right, pretend for a minute that that's going up there. Okay, cool, no worries. The air conditioning pipe. Now, where does this rubber mount? We can't move this, we can't make this pipe longer or shorter, so it can't move over to there. It's not in the right spot. It can't push out anymore. It's hitting on there. Right, so it can't go out anymore. It can't go in this way. We can't make it longer or shorter that way. It's what it is. It doesn't line up with anything. So the whole instructions and the whole setup, although you could butcher around with this and try and make it work, the whole instructions are complete garbage. And to be quite honest, I'm not happy with the whole thing. I can't see how it's going to turn out. So I'll fluff around a bit longer. And just like you watching this video has been a waste of time, these businesses with these battery trays, Grunt4x4 and any other brand that's out there, they should probably practice either sending the right kit for the right car or make sure it works. I mean, here it says 124.5 litre V6 petrol. Where is there a 4.5 litre V6 petrol? I suppose it comes down, that's a perfect example of the quality of the instructions. Where does this L-shaped bracket go and what's that for? And there's a whole heap of brackets still there. That's why I haven't drilled anything yet. This video, it's turned into more of a, what an absolute joke. Finally, before we pull the pin, even though there's a mounting bolt hole around this side of this plate, which could be mounted wrong because it doesn't tell you how to mount it. It doesn't show you anything. They don't have a video. So say we drilled those out. So then we've got that slide-on plate, which that's cool because that's where that reservoir there slides into there. So let's just say we drilled it out. We've got that flat plate. It's going to sit kind of like, and we drilled our own holes and bolted it down. So this sat here. That's not bad. That's about the best I could do. I reckon that's not a bad position for it. But then looking down there, it's very close to the hose, to the power steering there. Right, so down here, it's moved away a bit now because but there's only a finger width underneath it to the power steering, and that's, well, that's come back. When I push it back like that, it gets closer. And that leaves that hose rubbing hard against the pipe here. So it's just not satisfactory, to be quite honest. I don't know what everyone else's setup's got, but I'm cracking it. It's coming back out. As much as I'd love to leave it here, and I wasted time on this, you can clearly see not just the power steering is the problem. I haven't worked out with this aircon pipe how that's meant to go either. And I suspected when I saw this kit and the amount of things you got to move out of the way that this would be a problem. This has got to be professionally done. The tray itself actually works out not bad. It's a pity to be, you know, having to take it back out again and it doesn't work out. But all they had to do was make brackets that work and fit in the right places. And what are these holes out here for, you know? Different vehicle, whatever. It just makes no sense, to be quite honest. And we need to be able to secure this pipe in the right spot. And I don't know, it can't be on this bracket over here because that's too far away. Let's get that L bracket and just pretend for a minute. And that's what I've been doing, a lot of pretending. You know, you can put that, if you bolted that in there, what's that going to do? It's nowhere near that. You know, what's that going to do? Nowhere near it, right? Let's just do it, just for fun. Right, nowhere near it. It's over here. It's miles away. Like I said, we can't make that pipe longer or shorter. So I don't know what's meant to happen, but it's all coming back out and going back how it was before. It didn't take 2 hours, maybe 2 hours of mucking around. I know it feels like about an hour. It's all back the way it's meant to be, with all the power steering lines not rubbing on anything, aircon lines secured the way they're meant to be, and all the clamps, earth's back where they're meant to be. Not a good idea in my opinion. So what are the problems here? The tray was okay. It could have a couple more holes for the power steering bracket where you make use of the maximum amount of holes for strength, big heavy batteries banging around. My little upgrade of that rubber is in the bottom there. That's just a bit of metal from taking bolts in and out. We'll clean that up. They're back in, they're back in. So you can see that's nice and secure and where it's meant to be. If you're going to make a bracket to replace that one, it needs to be accurate. If you're going to remove this, you need to have an accurate mounting point to reuse the rubber so that it works, not just, you know, doesn't work sort of thing. So a number of quality issues, and this battery system, in my opinion, didn't work. If you've got one in your V6, I'd love to see a video on it or some photos and the brand. And it needs to be a satisfactory. This can get mounted up probably here somewhere, but the hoses can't be rubbing hard against that pipe, which is what this one was doing. Everything needs to be taken care of. Quality, reliable Toyota. I want to keep it that way. I don't want to put something in that's going to cause problems. Bada bing, bada boom. This one didn't work out. Catch you on the next video. See ya.